Welcome to another episode of Sneaks, Rhymes, and Life. I'm your host, Lionel McDonald. This one is going to feel a little bit like story time. Uh, it's so crazy at this time of year, late November, and there's no daylight. Like after 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, there is literally no daylight outside. It is pitch black by 6 o'clock. So, doing another late night episode. Not crazy late, but a late night episode nonetheless. And we are going to talk about, guess who? The Jordan 3 Black Cement. In many regards, many sneakerheads, particularly the OG ones, their favorite silhouette. Now, I'm a Black Cement 4 guy. We all know that this one was released multiple times. I think this is like the sixth time it's released overall, but Black Cement recently hit the marketplace once again with the original Nike Air as I have the one in my hand. I have an old one. This is the 99 one that I have here. Hasn't crumbled yet, which is fortunate, but needless to say, the Black Cement is one of those iconic models. So what I'm going to do, again, as we call it story time, we're going to talk a little bit about the Black Cement that recently released on the 23rd of November, right before Black Friday. So I think when we think about the shoe, it's iconic, the print, the colorway, the nostalgia and what happened. This is the shoe that Jordan wore during the All-Star game. I believe it was during the 88 season. So it is a special shoe. And it is one of the most premium and unique Jordan models to ever hit the marketplace. So again, let's talk about the OG. It's a first original run, happened in 1988. And really the marketing between him, and we've done it on a previous episode back in season 4, Spike Lee took part in the ads, and that was essentially the birth of Mars Blackman to many mainstream media people. Now, Mars Blackman did exist already in She's Got to Have It, the movie done by Spike Lee, but really the Mars Blackman character really came to life in these Jordan ads that were created right around All-Star Weekend. That this, in many people's eyes, the GOAT of all sneakers was released. So it hit the court during All-Star Weekend. MJ did wear the white cement during the infamous slam dunk contest in 1988. And what was amazing, this was the hometown shoe. This is why there's so much nostalgia with this shoe. It was the hometown Jordan that was released in 88 as Jordan played in the All-Star game of course, it had to be Chicago. He had the infamous duel in the slam dunk contest with Dominique Wilkins, which he came out victorious. And Nike really had some amazing commercials to play up this new model, unique and something totally different. It was created by Tinker Hatfield, who originally created the Air Max 1, who really revolutionized not only the sneaker world, but the Air Max 1 was one of those shoes that really turned the Air Max and Nike's fortunes around in partnership with obviously what we've seen with the Jordan brand over the years. So the 88 Air Jordan Black Cement was essentially the quintessential and most unique Jordan that was available to this day. As I mentioned, this is I think the sixth model that's come out between the OG. It most recently, the last couple times it has come out in 2018, and then this past weekend in 2024. I think when we look at the model, there is no Nike Air or no Air Jordan branding that you see other than on the tongue. And the combination between the black and the gray is unique. It's called Black Cement because the gray is essentially the color of cement. The only Nike logoing is just on the heel, where it shows Nike's branding. But other than that, where we've seen it on the Jordan 1 and it wasn't on the Jordan 2 in many eyes, that was a flop. It's still one of my favorite models. But this is almost like the comeback shoe, that the Jordan model was here to stay when Tinker Hatfield created this shoe called the Jordan 4 or Jordan 3 Black Cement. So as we look at this particular model, it really changed the game. So if we set the scene, and I just mentioned the Jordan 2, people were doubting the Jordan 2 after some success with the Jordan 1. That really changed the game. And again, we already had a movie just based on the Jordan 1, and Ben Affleck, amongst others, were in that movie. But when we got to the Jordan 2, there were some doubts about the partnership between Nike and Jordan. Former Nike heavyweights, what was his name? Peter Moore and his partner Rob. They had some conversations, and of course, we had some issues whether the Jordan 1 or the Jordan 3 was going to be here to last after the tumultuous Jordan 2. And why was tumultuous? Didn't sell, didn't have the Nike branding on it, and also Jordan got injured around the time the shoe, so it didn't launch and have the energy that the Jordan 1 had. With the in 87, as they were creating, Tinker Hatfield, which was Nike's top designer at the time, created the revolutionary Air Max 1. He had been brought in now by Phil Knight to really create something special, and really had an infamous meeting with Jordan. But we really had to have Mike's buy-in whether this shoe was going to make it or not. But once the Jordan 3 was unveiled, the game totally changed for sneakers for the better. Jordan had some complaints about the shoe, its durability, in previous models, the support. And once he got a chance to see the Jordan 3, his mind was totally changed. It had a complex, supple leather, so it was smooth enough for it to bend, but really to give him his side-to-side cuts and having that stability that went along with it. And then, again, when we talk about the shoe, the look says it all. And this elephant print was never really put on a mainstream sneaker before. It totally revolutionized what sneakers would look like and what we could think about when we put materials together. Once this released in 88, it was a mass release. There was apparel, there was the footwear, Spike Lee was behind it, and obviously there were so many things that were amazing that happened around this time. Jordan won the scoring title. Jordan was MVP of the league. Jordan had also won the All-Star MVP of that and Defensive Player of the Year. One of the first times that any person had ever achieved all of these accolades all at the same time. I still remember the infamous picture of Jordan sitting at the scorer's table wearing the Jordan 3s, an all-time classic. He wore the original white pair of Jordan 3s, which was released earlier during the slam dunk contest. So there was huge Jordan 3 energy when the shoe was released. Now, again, thinking about the times as this has come out, it originally came out in 88. It did its first retro right before I got into the game in 94, right around the time that the Jordan 10 was out. And Mike was already completed the first three-peat and was off now golfing. In my first pair that I ever purchased was in 2001. It then also retroed in 2011, but this time without the Nike Air. And then it also retroed again. I think it retroed before that. It retroed in 2008 when they did the countdown packs. And then last, as I just mentioned, after 11, it launched again in 2018. So 6 times that this has been out. It's had many reiterations. It's done several different things with the shoe. They've done some reimagined versions of the shoe, not what we call reimagined today, but really every single time there's been tremendous energy when it's come with this shoe. So really, and I think if we look at, you know, just even a comparison, I don't have them in front of me for those that are watching on YouTube, but let's kind of break down the 2018 pair, which was so many people were excited about, and this pair that came out. So we rewind actually back to 80 or 94 when it first came out. After so much success of the 88 pair, the 94 pair sat on shelves. People didn't want it. It really didn't take flight again until the 2001. I remember I had to scramble so hard, and even working in the industry, it was super hard to get this one. Then there was a ripple effect. The countdown pack with the 3 and the 20, and people didn't want the 20, but they wanted the 3 so bad, along with the 4 and 19 pack, which I've mentioned before. That was one of the 2 most demanded packs, along with the 11-12 pack. There was now new energy. The only things that people complained about is that it had the Jumpman on the back and not the Nike Air. So when we look at the 18 pair, this is the 20, I think it was like the countdown pack was the 23rd anniversary of the entire line. That's what they decided to do it at that point. And it was essentially controversial because it didn't have the original Nike Air. And then after the 11 one, people really didn't like it, and it was partially because of materials. The elephant failed off. Quality control, there were issues, but also even the leather. It was so smooth. It wasn't tumbled like we saw in 2001 or in the 94 pair. So people really need it. We need something different. We need the OG. And this is probably the precursor to us now having reimagined shoes, as we've seen over the last couple years with Reimagine Chicago 1, Reimagine, otherwise called Lost and Found, reimagined Jordan 3 that we got last year in 2013. But when we got the 2018 pair, this felt right. It was the right choice of materials, coloring, logo. It looked premium. It looked luxurious. The deeper gray of the elephant print. The only drawback is some of the elephant print didn't match. Some of the elephant print in pairs that I've seen, the elephant print was different on one shoe versus another. So you were kind of doing a mix match thing and trying to get it to figure out. But overall, this was the best one since probably the 94 pair. And people were probably most excited about this one. And at that point, the 88 pair was the 2018 pair was the 30th anniversary of that particular shoe. Fast forward 6 years, right? Anniversary 36. But this one, and I would tell you in the pictures and even seeing them firsthand in hand, the leather is not as good as 2018 in my opinion, but it is still premium to this day. When we look at the 24 pair, as I'm now looking, and really the mindset was, how do we take the 2024 pair and make it as close as possible to the 88 pair? There were some minor changes. The largest switch up was the shape. And in recent years, it was to better reflect what it looked like in 88. The 2018 pair kind of looks more like the 94 pair or the 2001 pair. The 2024 pair definitely looks more like the original 88 pair. So this is a win. Many people who already had purchased a 2018 pair were not looking for this 2024 pair. So that's kind of the piece out there that we'll talk about in a second. But let's finish up with the materials. So the leather was more of a pebble leather on the 2018 pair. It was more textured. The one that we see today in 2024 is definitely smoother. And it's kind of mixed feelings. Some people like the tumble leather and that it looks more premium, looks more luxurious. but I've seen the one from 2011, and that tumble leather, it just bent and wore very oddly. I have a post that will go up with just some of my favorite threes, and that one looks specifically not as, it looks premium, but it didn't wear premium. So then when we look at, again, the 18 versus the 24, it's difficult really to think which one do you have. Both of them have, I guess, they're different variations of the pair, and which one you decide that you like better is totally up to you. Some people caught both. Some people are good with the 18. Some people said, I got to have the 24. I either skipped it or I don't like it nearly as much. Me personally, I'll take 2001. That's my favorite one. Now, unfortunately, my midsole is starting to crack a little bit. You can see it with the paint. It happened with the 2008 and the 11. It's just the name of the game when you have these polyurethane upper or midsoles. They're just going to fall apart after time. You're going to have to wear them. You're going to have to make them part of your equation when you need to re-up or you need to think about it. Now, I've worn these. I have several pairs of the Jordan 3, and contrary to many's opinion, I prefer the white cement over the black cement. I know I'm crazy. It's just personal opinion. Like, I think when we talk about the wear, and I think thinking about the 2001 pair, the 2008 pair, and the 2011, that was really my prime of all of my sneaker collecting. And I just found that the white wore way better than the black version. And that's why, although I think the black cement is still a top 10 shoe for me all time, I would tell you the white cement is probably a top 5 shoe for me all time. So really unique on how these pairs wear, what we think of them. I definitely, again, prefer the 2018 pair versus the 24 pair, but I love the 2001 pair. Of all the ones I've actually held in hand and actually own, that would be my favorite one. So they look great on feet. But again, now fast forward to where I'm going to go with this is that after all the excitement, this was probably the shoe to have for the season. Now, some people need the Legend 11s. That was recently out, only a few years back. So some people were really excited for this. There were a ton of delivery issues with this shoe, both in Canada and in the US, probably around the world. There were tons of pairs out there. But if you go to a store to this day, whether you go to a Foot Locker or a Champs or some of the other competition that's out there, Nike still had them online 24 hours later in selected sizes. They're out there. They're sitting. And I don't know whether it's the choice and the preference of which shoe you prefer, whether you have already the 2018. Some people have the 2018 and never wore them. So that is a debate for many that are out there and what people think about the shoe. Do I think the Jordan brand is dying? I only gave you an episode less than 2 weeks ago of how exciting the Jordan 3 Black Cement was to have on the market. This is such an important shoe. If we didn't have the revolution of this Jordan 3, sneakers could be totally different forever because MJ may have left Nike. Tinker Hatfield single-handedly, with the invention of the Jordan 3, kept Jordan at Nike, and Brent built this billion-dollar empire with him as the centerpiece of all the Nike athletes that Nike has ever had in the history of time. I think when we think about, again, the technology, the design, this was the first Jordan, again, with a visible air sole unit, a different traction that they had put on shoes. Previously, they went away from. You can see by the outsole. They didn't go with the herringbone outsole, but really focused on that pivot point that you see at the ball of your foot. It was a mid-cut shoe, not a high. and not a low that you probably would wear off court. And again, the collar being more padded, more supportive, less blistering if you were wearing this on court, and it's crazy. This was a this was the shoe to have on court in the late 80s into the early 90s. And the 4 and the 5 were derivatives and took inspiration from the 3. So the 3 was truly a game changer, and the simple hit of the Nike Air just on the back and not all over the shoe was a change to all. Think about it. We have white cement, black cement, fire red, true blue. Those are the original Jordan 4 or Jordan 3 colors. They followed suit with the Jordan 4, and it started to become a trend as we move forward. So really think about, again, this was the introduction also of Mars Black. Remember, do you know that was one of the infamous sayings that he brought from She's Got to Have It, that movie, and paired this into commercials that really figured as an icon. I still remember I had MJ on my wall wearing the Jordan 3s, taking off from the foul line. It was the white cement, not black cement, because again, this is from the infamous slam dunk contest. And it really kind of transcended where we took so many different shoes. And think about some of the best Jordan 3s that have ever come out. We have obviously white cement, black cement. We have Ama Manier. Ama Manier is not the same anymore, but that's the best Jordan 3. It's the best Jordan of the Ama Manier collection. We got collaborations with the Jordan 3 beyond Ama Manier. If you think of some of the other colorways, there are just endless ones that are really part of where we have gone with the Jordan 3, and it is essentially a staple. Think of the Fragment, think of the M&M. Those are just some of the many Jordan 3s that are out there that we've seen over time. And I think if you really think about the Jordan 3, it arguably may be the best of all the Jordans. For me, it's up there with the Jordan 4. And then again, they've just done some basic colors like the UNC. We did the Cyber Monday. We just had the Fear. If we think of just so many different ones, I love the Fragment one. It's subtle. It didn't stick out like some of the other ones that we've seen. I think of the Black Cat. That Black Cat is supposed to come out in 2025. So there's a lot to be excited about when it comes to the Jordan 3. Cool Gray was an amazing one. Mocha is an underrated one. I used to have like 4 pairs of Mochas at one point, and because I just loved it so much. Some people love the chlorophyll. I think of the Tinker one. There is the white version that they actually added the swoosh. That was the original pair, and they end up taking it off and giving it its final look. So there's a couple different ones that we've had with the Tinker one, the Soul one. And then there's the Dornbacher Jordan 3. One of these days, that's going to have to come back out. And then I had a great experience with the Jordan 3. It was the white cement, but remember back, I think it was probably 2018, where Justin Timberlake performed at the Super Bowl. I actually got the chance to meet Justin Timberlake at the Jordan store when the shoe that he was wearing during the Super Bowl performance actually came out and was released only in Jordan stores. Like literally, there was a Twitter post. He showed up in the store. It was all planned, and then we end up selling like 700 pairs of Jordan 3 white cements that particular day. So that is such an iconic shoe. Varsity Royal, another one of my favorites. And I think of Union, which I wish there was one. The Union one is, again, one of my favorite shoes. there's not really a Union Jordan for. We have to bring up the DJ Khaled. You may not be a huge fan of DJ Khaled, but he definitely had one of the best Jordan threes that we've ever seen. There's a lot of history when we talk about the Jordan 3 and just some of um, the best ones out there. Like, think about the impact that this shoe has made on the marketplace. From the Royal one to just so many of them. I think about it now, and I love the Mocha one. I think probably easily top 3: white cement, black cement, and Mocha. I wore the Mocha one so hard for so many times. And I used to run around in it. People run around in Asics and New Balance and some of these other running silhouettes. But the Mocha one, to me, was absolutely insane and crazy. And I still love it to this day. So that is the Jordan 3. And there's still pairs out there. So if you need a pair, hit up your local retailer. Foot Locker definitely has got them. And enjoy this. This shoe has so much nostalgia for an OG sneakerhead, for a new sneakerhead to the game. This is one that you should really consider getting. And if you take advantage of this, this will really be a gem or a crown jewel in your sneaker collection. Don't worry about the fact that there are pairs still out there. There's lots of people that have the shoe, other people that don't. I had OGs hitting me up over the weekend looking for pairs and finding ways to get it. This is an important shoe and a staple for many people in their collection. So ensure that you got this one. Ensure that this is one for the history books and that you have essentially a piece of history. It is one that you definitely should not consider sleeping on, because I think it's just that important to the culture, to where we've been, a celebration, and then where ultimately we are going to end up and where we're going to go. Many people, and now again, I only did a podcast not too long ago just strictly on the launches that are happening. And this was the crown jewel. And it didn't sell out, and I don't think it really matters. I think the way sneakers have evolved in the marketplace, there are our tier 0 shoes that you can't get your hands on that mean a tremendous amount to a very select amount of people. But in the world today, there is so much choice. There is so many sneakers that are available to people from all walks of life, whether you like Jordans, whether you like New Balance, whether you like Asics, whether you like Nike running, whether you like retro Reebok, which I do love. Deion Sanders has got shoes out right now. We got Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese and Asia Wilson that are all going to get shoes in the next couple years. This is something that you should really enjoy and take advantage of, because the Jordan 3 is one of the true game-changing shoes. If we talk about maybe 2 that are out there, 3, maybe the top 3 game-changing shoes from the Jordan brand, Jordan 3, Jordan 1, and then obviously the Jordan 11 and how that looks, maybe one of the best. I think they did a Do the Right Thing. The Flip 3, the gray one and the white one, again, are some of my favorites. We got a True Blue, and then obviously, the Pure, and then Pure Money, and then we also got the Black Cat. I'm just scrolling through to remember some of them. The Silver Anniversary was special. It went way too yellow. Oh, I forgot about one. My favorite Jordan 3 outside white cement is none other than the Black History. It is so clean with the nubuck on it. It is absolute. People stop me on the street every single time I wear that shoe and asking, what the hell is that? And where did you get that? Some I didn't like. I didn't like the Prism from like 2012 or 2013. Same thing with the Joker. The Joker was probably better than that. And I think in 2013, some of the Jordan's 3s didn't fit the same way and didn't feel as comfortable as before. Powder blue was one I could skip. Definitely, I made a big deal about the infrared and probably regret that I actually bought that one. And then Wolf Gray, that was a hard pass for me. I like Sport Blue more than most people do, so there are a lot of history with the Jordan 3. Get a pair that you're proud of, that you will want to pay your collection, but I don't think you can go wrong with one of these OG pairs. There are pairs out there. This will be a great holiday gift if you haven't got it already. Enjoy your Jordan 3s. It is a piece of history when we talk about sneakers. Thank you for your time. Thank you for listening about the Jordan 3. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully you've learned the relevance of the Jordan 3. And hopefully this will now make an impact with you as you review and look at your collection and how the Jordan 3 was one of the most iconic shoes that we've ever had in the marketplace. So on that note, thank you for listening. This is Lionel McDonald for Sneaks, Rhymes, and Life. We are out and gone.